Hey everyone, this is Angela with Word and Home. Today we're going to be working on this little Dollar General Christmas bag sign. We're going to start with this little bag from Dollar General. It was in the Christmas section. And we are going to be putting it on this little wood plaque that came from Walmart. And there were 3 in a pack and they measure 6 by 6. And the first thing I'm going to do is just drill 2 holes in the top because I will be adding a hanger in just a bit. So now we're going to be painting it, and I use these 2 colors. They are both acrylic paint. One is a wine color, and the second one is called True Red. And I'm just going to use just a combination of these both just to get the color of red that I would like to match the truck on my little bag. Now I made sure that I painted the front and each side, and then I also flipped my sign over and painted the back as well. So while my paint is drying on my sign, I'm going to go ahead and cut my little bag apart. I first cut the top off, and then I'm just going to be cutting out this square on the front that has my little truck on the front. Okay, now once I have it all cut out, I am just going to pull some threads from each side just to kind of give it a little bit of a frayed look. You can totally skip this step if you would choose to do so. So now I'm just taking my scissors and I'm just going to trim up the edges where I frayed the edges. Just trim that up just a little bit to make it more even. And so now I'm just going to use some tacky glue. It's just a craft glue, and I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of the piece that I've cut out here, and then I'm just going to stick it down to the center of this little plaque that I've already painted. So once your glue is all dry, now we'll go ahead and work on our little handle. And I'm using these little wood beads, and these came from Hobby Lobby, and they are 1/2 inch beads. And I'm going to go ahead and just make a mixture of my chalk paint, and I had a little bit of water in the bottom of this bowl when I started, and I just put the chalk paint in on top of it and then just used a plastic spoon to stir it all up. And then I'm just simply going to drop all of my little wood beads in here, and I'm just going to stir it up. Now, I'm not leaving my wood beads in my paint very long because the look that I'm going for right now is kind of a whitewashed look. So I'm just going to put them in there, stir them up, make sure that they all get covered, and then I'm just going to put them out on just a piece of wax paper, and I'll let them dry here. So once all of my little beads are dry, I'm going to cut a section of wire, and the size of the wire all depends on how big you would like your handle. So I'm not going for a big handle on this, so I just cut a small section of wire, and I poke that through the first hole that I pre-drilled earlier, and I just use the end of my paintbrush, and I'm just coiling the end of the wire around this. And I'll always do one side first, just like this, and then I'll just start stringing my beads on my little handle. So during this process, I started with, I think, 16 beads, and I decided my handle was a little bigger than I wanted, so I just removed 4 beads, and I ended up using 12 for my handle on this particular little sign. But you can use as many or as few beads as you choose. So when you get the number of beads that you would like strung on your wire, you're just going to poke that second end back through your little sign, and you're going to do the same thing that we did earlier. I'm going to go ahead, and I like to just trim off a little bit of the excess here because it just makes it a little easier to work with. But then I'll just take the end of my paintbrush and once again just coil the end of that wire around my paintbrush. And so now you've got a little handle attached to your little sign. So you can use this in a little grouping if you want, or you could also hang it. You can hang it on your Christmas tree if you would like to do that too. So there's one last thing that we are going to do. I'm just going to add a simple little bow to this sign. And I like to just take raffia, and I like to pull one piece apart into 2 or 3 sections just to make smaller pieces of raffia. It just kind of gives a little bit more of a wispy look. And then I am just simply just going to tie just a simple little bow, just like you were tying your shoestrings. And once you get it all, get your little bow to the size that you would like it, you can trim it all up. And then you'll just hot glue it to the top of your sign. I wanted to have just a little bit of length left on this just to kind of make it look a little wispier. But I also didn't want my ends to cover up my truck. So I just worked with it for just a little bit and just kind of snipped off the ends here and there. And the good thing about this raffia is you can always take your fingers and just kind of scrunch it, and it's very pliable like that. So if you scrunch it, it'll hold that, and you can just kind of manipulate it to wherever you would like for it to go. Okay, so now that you have your bow just like you want it, just go ahead and take a very small dab of hot glue and just hot glue your little raffia bow up in the corner of your little sign. And again, if you can always manipulate those ends of that raffia just to sit wherever you would like. And that's it, friends. So for more great ideas just like this one, please visit wordandhome.com. Thanks, guys.